Welcome to Crypto Reality. Today we've got a show that is going to be something you've never seen before. It's something I've never seen. I've been breaking down footage for about 10 years now. I've been in this game for a long time, studying. Now in the field for almost 10 years. And by all accounts, and literally, mathematics itself dictates that what you're about to see, it has to be real. It's on too many frames, and there's too much symmetry and proportions that are in agreement here. This is happening. What we've got here is a situation where we're learning about how these giants are using the light and the trees and diffusion to cast coloration onto themselves and confuse human beings. We have what is essentially a set of train tracks and many yards behind that, a set of trees. My wife has approached the situation unknowingly, right? Can see the giant's eyes right here, its nose, its mouth. This is an achromatic giant. There are several of them, and that's why we're seeing all this strange stuff that doesn't belong in the trees. We've already looked at all this other footage. There's some interesting anomalies, colorless anomalies in this area that I'll be investigating. In addition to this obvious gigantic creature. How big is this thing? Well, let's make an estimate here. This is approximately a 15-foot embankment. I've been there myself and stood right here. I'm approximately this tall, somewhere around these tracks. This thing appears to be somewhere in the distance. How far? We don't know. But it's obvious that it's hiding and attempting to hide, and you can see here it's tilted its head, and it appears to have its fingers up here trying to cover its face. But we can plainly see the diffusion is what's really masking it. This side could be its hand, we know, but this shadowy stuff, that's just shadow from its face being cast on one side. This thing actually tilts its head just a little, and so we're looking at a really incredible frame that essentially validates the other creatures that are blurry. This is probably the one that was filmed from a distance, and then here's the evidence that we all need to be paying attention to what Crypto Reality is researching, because it concerns every human. We are in the editor, and we're looking at giants, and we've got some amazing stuff going on here. You can see this thing's brow straighten out. Here's the brow angle. This is the eye socket right here in the bone structure, and it's either a hand or this is just its nose, but you can even see the split. Here's the head like this, right? So watch this thing. Watch that brow straighten out. There's an eye in there watching you now. Do you know how big this thing is? Giants are real. That's how big. This is train tracks 300 yards away, and this creature is enormous. We're working on this insane piece of footage with these enormous creatures that essentially it's not something that's supposed to ever even come close to existing. We got train tracks right here. These are train tracks, and this is an enormous creature, and there are several. We've already marked them from a distance. Now here's Melanie hiked down to them. She's at the train tracks now, and we're still picking these giant things up. There's a huge creature right there. Let's get in a little bit closer here. You can see she's on the trail there, and oh my God, is this real? How is this happening? Let me extend that footage so that we can, it's rendering right now, but by the looks of it, maybe we can make, man, we got eyes and even, oh boy, that's not good. It could be, man, geez, guys, this appears to be a huge creature. We're going to need more data, but my goodness, you can see the whites glaring off the back of its head. off the back of its eyes, and even some of the nostril here now. It appears that Melanie, the mouth, has hiked down to what are, in fact, extremely large creatures. And for one reason or another, they have been, I guess, going off everybody's radar. There it is right there. Let's zoom in on this one and see. For my sakes, I got to tell you guys, this is coming out pretty scary. You can see this thing is moving its brow in there. It appears to be one of those really big Sasquatch creatures. Again, we've got eye shine coming out. Pretty coincidental for this data to have that. I'm going to crop in on this one too and take a look and see what we're dealing with here. But it really continues consistently backing itself up. I mean, no matter what we do, I've tried to disprove this, and this isn't the only clip, and that's the reason I'm saying if you're watching on Patreon and you've been supporting the study, then you know we've been picking this up, and I've been hinting around at it that there are these enormous creatures, and the data appears to, at this point, only support that conclusion from this area, which is a completely different area now. We have an enormous creature here, and it's watching my wife. My God, my God. Okay, okay, guys. Well, it's only getting worse, man. My God. How many of them are there? Let me still frame this, and let's get in. And just in between frames, you can see that it's changing its brow right there. It appears to be watching Melanie. Does it have fingers up in front of its face? I'm not sure. This is insane. This data is insane. I mean, I don't even know what to say. This is clearer than the last one that we just put up. And here it comes. Let's take a look. We're going to try to get... If there's something there that's not what it's supposed to be, it should come through here in this... Oh, boy. Well, there appears to be some red over in this area here. But is this more than one creature? Are they piled together, giving us the illusion that this is a giant creature? I don't know that that's the case, specifically because we have so many frames not showing the other creatures. Now, there could be other creatures around it, but we're starting to see that this is some solid data here, man. I mean, this thing's turned its head. Look at the size of this. I mean, you can see there's a brow line and everything, and it's at this point, man, my God, what am I supposed to say about this? I mean, you guys are sitting here looking at it. It's obvious to me that appears to be an enormous creature, regardless of the insanity of that data. You know, I've learned to trust the data because it leads me to more data. I have to assume that since we're seeing perfect balance in this, in every way, that this is real. And I'm going to do this last shot, and I'm going to leave you with the rest of this film and what you're going to see. And I'm just here to tell you that what we're documenting is real. And this is all one hike with, we want this one right here. There we go. This is one, man, there is something really freaky going on here. And we need to ascertain this. But that looks to me like a giant creature. And now that my wife's close, this thing's trying to hide better. Because you can see before, in this footage, it was right up on the tracks. Or at least it appeared to be. What's really interesting is, I got to a point in the review where I'm like, okay, it could be 5, 6 of them, piled up, making this look like this. And then I'm getting ready to shut down for the night. And, I'm really hyper-focused on what I see here. And that's how we find it. I get a scent and I stay on it. But, dismissing it, and then I'm getting ready to shut it off, and I look over here. And I'm just trying to tell you guys that there's something going on here, and the symmetry that we continue to photograph, and you can plainly see this, looks like somebody's trying to peek over the train tracks, and they have plants all over their head. What does that tell you about how the creatures hide? Well, I've already done my satellite research, and we're aware of how they're hiding. This entire situation is ridiculous. And to be in it as a documentarian, a wildlife observationist, I've been observing Florida wilderness for the better part of 41 years. And I've been taking reports of hairy creatures, giant hairy creatures, since I was 16. So 37 years was the first time I took a report. Happened on my street. Giant hairy creatures, gray, achromatic creatures they were described as. The police were trying to shoot them. What's going on here far exceeds that. And we need to pay close attention to this as it develops. We're seeing enormous individuals. We broke that one down. I haven't even started this. Between frames, you can see there's some angle changes on the brow there. And you can really make that creature out, man. It's disturbing. But it's there. Let's talk about how improbable it is that we're going to be seeing giant symmetry like this on film and have it not be what it is. You can actually see these enormous Sasquatch. This thing's eye. Look at this nose. These things are just enormous. This is train tracks. Here it is, folks. Giants are real. You can avoid it. But the data continues to show enormous creatures. And you can see, man, this thing is there. Just furthering the examination to this extent where we're getting this eye shine. This thing probably has one of these rounded heads, and it's possible that its head goes up and there's other stuff going on here with fingers and who knows. But look at this. This is like insane. I've never seen anything like this. I never expected to see anything like this. Are you kidding me with this giant? We just talked about it, the giant eyeball thing. Here we go. Here I am chasing the giant eyeballs. I go in the field. I start catching them. My wife is literally alone on a hike in an area that I've asked her to not go into on multiple occasions by herself. And what do we pull? Some of the most incredible footage ever shot by a man or a woman or a human being, period. We are documenting enormous creatures in our reality now. Look at the size of this thing. Guys, it's in there. The eyes are perfectly symmetrical, man. This is like crazy data. And let's see what happens as she gets closer. I want to see. Oh, here he is right here. He's maybe backing back in. And then he goes off screen. But you know what we're looking at? We're looking at huge creatures. There are huge, look at this, huge creatures and bone structures at work in these trees and in this area. There's no doubt about it. So basically, I just don't even know where to begin. And that's the reality of it. Where do you begin? What do you want me to tell you? you can see all the other ones, and that's the scariest part, right? So we got enormities, and there's so much going on around them that is painfully and obviously humongous Sasquatch that it's tough to dismiss these enormous creatures. And I'm like, no, tell me that one of the strategies these other ones that are 20 feet tall or 25 feet tall have is to bunch together and try to make themselves look like they're twice as big or 3 times as big. It's four of them, and they're bunched together acting, and that's how they fooled whoever it was that was trying to hunt them, by making themselves look bigger. This is a prey response. This is their prey response. They camouflage themselves. They're perfect at camouflage. They would think of shit like this. This is my brain trying to explain the giants away. It's 4 or 5 15-footers huddled together, making like circles like eyes and shit. You know what I mean? That's what it is.